Hi friends, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome back to another skincare and scary stories episode. I'm Faiza and every week I talk about a true crime story on my channel. However, on this side of my channel, I talk about a scary film that I've watched whilst I do my skincare. So if you're into that combination, like and subscribe because I'm here for you every weekend. So let's get into it. So one of my subscribers mentioned that I only spoke about the first film of The Ring, and in this video I'm going to be explaining the second film. So let's get into it. So Samara Morgan came back again, and this time she is haunting Rachel's son, Aidan. There's a lot of possession happening in this film, and she's just out for blood again. She came back around again, you guys. So 6 months after the first film, Samara Morgan's videotape has been circulating around Astoria, Oregon, and people are dying yet again. Have you guys noticed that in her videotape, it just has random images of a ladder, a photo of a woman on the wall? It just doesn't make sense. The videotape has like no cover to it, no warning label. If you watch it, you're gonna die. So it's just so unfair, isn't it? So Jake Pierce, this donut, he's on his 7th day of watching the tape and he's freaking out. He's running out of time. Oh my goodness. So what does he do? He invites his friend, Emily, to watch the tape. However, you know what Emily does? She's like, I'll watch the tape, but it's a bit scary. So she covers her eyes. Jake goes into the kitchen expecting her to watch the whole video. But then when he comes out, he realizes that she had her eyes closed, and officially Jake is out of time. Jake then receives a phone call and he's relieved to know that it was just his friend reaching out to him, asking him whether or not Emily watched the tape and so on. You know, they planned it. They both planned it to pin this tape on poor Emily. But thank God Emily didn't watch it. And then suddenly, black liquid starts pouring from under the kitchen door. Jake runs into the living room. He discovered that Emily didn't watch the tape and he gets murdered by Samara. The way she reached her arm out when she came out of the TV, why was he sitting so close to the TV? It was ridiculous. But Jake is out. I mean, the way she grabbed onto Jake, Samara, she's out for blood. She is angrier than ever. So Rachel and her son Aidan moved from Astoria to Seattle. After the first film, Rachel was like, I am completely done with living in my house and everything. And she just moves away with her son, trying to look for a fresh start. You know, it was so traumatizing what has happened to them and so on. Since Rachel is working for a newspaper, she finds out about Jake's death and she realizes, oh God, this is the work of Samara. She's back again. She just recognized how the corpses look like, you know. They do have a distinctive look when they die. They just look so mummified and terrified. It's just, you can tell that Samara had something to do with this. Then before you know it, Samara starts appearing out of nowhere throughout the film, and she makes it clear to Rachel that she's been looking for her. She's haunting the family down. So Samara basically wants for Rachel to be her mom. That's what I've picked up on in this film. So Rachel is just trying to run away. She's trying to protect her son, and things are just getting more and more intense. So Rachel breaks into Jake's house and she finds the videotape, and then she decides to burn it. She's pulling it apart. She is trying to destroy it, and as she's burning the tape, it was making this very strange squealy noises. I'm thinking, I don't think it is as easy as that, just to burn the tape, you know. Obviously that doesn't work, because soon Aidan falls asleep and he has a nightmare. The nightmare was about him getting dragged into the TV by Samara, and he also slowly develops hypothermia, and he's beginning to act strangely as the film goes on. I'm gonna go wash my face. I'll be right back. Aidan is at a county fair with his mom, Rachel, and then he just wanders off and runs into a bathroom. And when he's in the restroom, he's taking photos of his reflection, and then Samara appears. Is she just making it clear that she is haunting this family and she has unfinished business and she's gonna stop at nothing until she gets what she wants? So Aidan tells his mom that Samara is haunting him and she keeps appearing and whatever. He really wanted to find out like what Samara wanted from him. Nobody's quite sure what she wants, but she's out there looking for them, you know? So Rachel does the right thing and she drives Aidan back home, and on their way home they get attacked by a deer. The accident was so violent and a bunch of deer just showed up, and then Rachel begins to realize, I think Aidan is possessed by her. So Max brings them in as Rachel couldn't go back to her house as she's trying to figure out what's happening to her son Aidan. Aidan's beginning to behave a lot more strangely than usual, and then Rachel attempts to bath Aidan. However, he develops aquaphobia. He's just so afraid to be in the water and he's just behaving strangely, you know? So Samara shows up again and she's causing the water to recede from the bathtub. She's replacing Aidan with herself and she's basically terrorizing Rachel. And Rachel had no choice but to drown Aidan in the bathtub, and this is where Max catches her in the act and he just tells her, you need to take Aidan to the hospital. Once they reach the hospital, they have noticed that Aidan has bruises and marks all over his body, and the doctor suspected Rachel of child abuse. So Rachel gets admitted to the psychiatric hospital because they are convinced that she has postpartum depression. Rachel is now trying to investigate what Samara really wants, so she travels all the way back to the island to find out more about Samara's history, and this is where she stumbles upon Evelyn, Samara's mother, and she's trying to ask her like, what do I do? She's haunting us, you know, she's asking Evelyn all of this. She found out like in a scrapbook that Samara was almost drowned as an infant. Her mother tried to drown her for some reason. So Evelyn is also at the psychiatric hospital, and Rachel's like, what do I do? How do I save my son? And Evelyn eerily says, listen to your baby. So back in the hospital, Aidan is possessed by Samara, and he basically makes Dr. Temple inject herself with a needle, killing her instantly, and he just escapes the hospital. He goes all the way back to Max's house, where he kills him too, and leaves his remains in a trunk of his car. So when Rachel arrives back home, Aidan greets her very affectionately, and she realizes he's acting very much out of character. But then Rachel falls asleep. She is in a very deep sleep and she's dreaming of Aidan telling her to exorcise Samara. So upon awakening, Rachel drugs Samara with sleeping pills and places her in the bath to drown Aidan and to take Samara back out. So Samara is removed and she floats back into the television again. Then Rachel happens to fall into Samara's monochromatic world, and she finds herself on the bottom of the well. Rachel discovers that the well was always partially open, and in order to for Samara to stop crawling out and haunting people, she needs to close the well completely. So when Rachel locks the well completely, Samara is trapped in the well forever, and Rachel decides to, you know, wander through the woods, and that world seems so black and white and eerie in my opinion. So Rachel is wandering through the woods, and when she comes to the cliff where Samara's adoptive mother has committed suicide, she hears Aidan's voice calling her. So she follows his voice and she falls off a cliff and lands into a depth of water. At this point, Rachel goes back to the real world and is reunited with Aidan again. And at this point, you would think that the nightmare's over, but who knows? Because there is a third film called Rings, and I'm planning to watch that soon, and I'll let you guys know what I think about it. However, what do you guys think about this film? I feel like the second film is just giving us a more of a breakdown of where Samara came from and what exactly happened to her. Her childhood was very abusive. It's basically an angry dead girl, you know? And all she wanted was a mother. She called Rachel her mom, and that's all she wanted. That's why she's coming back again and again and again. She is looking for a parent that loves her. And that's not the reality. It's like her spirit isn't able to move on. But the Ring franchise, the film in itself, it's just the most memorable horror films ever made. I mean, I came across this film in 2005. I was, I think, like 10 or 11 years old back then. And it was just on the TV, and I watched it beginning, middle, and end. And it just kind of stayed with me. I don't know if it's traumatized me, I don't think so, but it's just this film, I find it really interesting. So if you reached this far in the video, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please do stay safe and hydrated, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.